Hello everyone, welcome back for another science video. Today we're going to be talking about internal and external stimulus in plants. Now we did talk about this with humans when we were learning about the human body, but now we have moved on to plants, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So one of the first things that we're going to start off by talking about is what is homeostasis? So I'm writing down this question to give you a chance to think about it. Think about what is homeostasis? We've talked about this so much. Think about the answer in your head. I know you guys are a lot of you would get this just from thinking about it. But it means to keep things balanced. Homeostasis means to keep things balanced. Organisms always want to be balanced. They always want everything in the body or in the plant, whatever the organism is, to be equal, all the functions. So that's why I'm drawing a scale so that you guys can picture in your head homeostasis means to keep things balanced. Things are equal. So when you think of homeostasis, think of a scale. Think about keeping things balanced. So that's why we have internal and external stimulus. So now let's talk about those definitions so I can kind of jog you guys' memories so that you can remember what those things are. So let's talk about internal stimulus. Hold on, I'm talking a little bit faster than the video is moving. I promise as these videos go on, guys, Miss Waits is going to be a pro by like the 8th video. So internal stimulus is something that comes from inside the organism. So I'm writing all of these down for you all so that you can write them down too, because they're going to help you with your quizzes and your assignments. So for example, I'm going to draw a picture of an apple. Because if we're talking about internal stimulus, we're talking about something that comes from inside the organism. If you feel hungry, you don't feel hungry on the outside. You don't go, oh, the outside of my body is hungry. No, you feel hunger on the inside. So when it's inside the organism, it's an internal stimulus. That's super important to remember. The next stimulus that we're going to talk about is external stimulus. Now, before I even get the definition down, I want you to think about what external is going to mean. Go ahead, take a second, think about external. You know what internal means. What does external mean? External is going to be something that happens to the organism from the outside. It's something that's happening to the organism from the outside. So the picture that I'm going to draw for this one, I'm going to draw my sun. And we talked about this yesterday. What happens to plants when the sun is not directly over them? They're going to grow towards the sun. So the sun acting on the plant is something that's happening on the outside. The plant is sensing the sunlight from the outside. So that's why that's an external stimulus for the plant to grow towards the sun. And then before I even write it down, think about what is this process called? What do we call this process? Think about it. Do you have it? I'm writing it down. Did you get it right? It's phototropism. That is the process. Great job if you got that one right. Now we're going to go ahead and compare and contrast between internal and external stimulus. So things that are internal and then things that are external. So let's go ahead and look at our first thing that's internal. So we have hormones. Plants and animals both have hormones. Hormones carry messages inside the organism. So if it's inside, it's internal. For external, we just talked about this one. Phototropism. The sun acts on the outside of the plant. It's something happening outside of the plant that's causing it to behave a certain way. Let's look at a plant wilting. Now, while we see that a plant wilts on the outside, the reason is actually because the cells on the inside are being affected. So that's why a plant wilting is going to be an internal stimulus, because the cells on the inside are being affected, and then as a response, the plant is wilting. Hydrotropism. This is when the roots sense water outside and grow towards it. The roots sense that water is nearby on the outside. So this is an external stimulus because they're sensing the water from the outside. Now we're going to look at stimulus and response versus cause and effect. So I know you guys talk about cause and effect in ELA, and when we were learning about this with animals, you guys made really awesome connections. So stimulus and response is looking at one thing happening and then a response happening in return. Because this happens, then this happens. So your stimulus is going to be what's happening. This is what's actually happening to the organism. This is what's going on with it. Your response is going to be how the organism actually responds to what's happening to it. So let's look at a couple of examples. So the first example that I'm using is for a human, because it's always easier to make connections when you're thinking about yourself. So here I'm going to draw a glass of water because the human is thirsty. So you feel thirst. That's something that you feel on the inside. That's your stimulus. You go, oh, I'm thirsty. Well, your response is, what are you going to do about the thirst? What's happening because of it? You're going to drink water. Drink water is going to be your response. But let's look at it from the aspect of a plant. Plants are a little different. They're not like people. They can't just say, oh, I'm going to go get a drink of water. So a plant is not getting enough water. So as a response, the cells in the plant are not working as efficiently. And so the plant begins to wilt. So the stimulus is the plant is not getting enough water. The response is the plant wilts. And then another connection that I want you guys to make is that these are both internal responses. Both of these are internal responses. So somebody feeling thirsty and the plant cells recognizing that they don't have enough water. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go ahead and draw out how you would write out your stimulus and response answers. So sorry that the camera's a little blurry. Hopefully it will clear up in a second. Okay, the camera's a little blurry, but I'm going to explain to you guys what I'm doing, and then it'll clear up, and I'll be sure to attach a still picture. But I'm writing that basically what I just said on the last page. The stimulus is the plant not having enough water. And then for the response, you would write that the plant wilts. And then I put in parentheses that that's internal. I want you to label that it's internal. Hi everyone, so this is Ms. Waits popping in at the end of the video. The video cut off for some reason, but that is okay. So all that I have my paper here, the one that I was writing on, is that the stimulus is that the sun has moved to the left of the sky and the plant isn't getting enough sun. And then as a response to that, the plant grows in the direction of the sun, and that's going to be phototropism. So I'll make sure to have this page and my other pages attached so that you can look at them after you watch the YouTube video. I hate that it cut off, but that's okay. We're going to improvise. As you guys can see, I'm in my robe because I'm very cold, and I'm trying to get this video up for you guys so that we can have an awesome day of learning. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. This was supposed to be at the end of the video, but it cut off. So I'm going to hold it up right here. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Do awesome on your assignment, and go Centaurs!